We haven't got. Maybe we'll go on a date together. There you go. Double date. We'll do a double date with our chicks.
I will bring my woman with me if we're hanging.
We'll go to the drive-in. How about we go to the drive-in? How about that?
No. Okay, not after that sentence.
You gonna sit in the back seat with me?
Oh my goodness. Hey everybody, I'm Kevin, and this is the Riffs and
Rhythms podcast, and I'm Paul Robertson.
How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing good. So I want to hit you this up first here is, and we could talk a little bit more in a group chat about
like the kids do. We'll sit next to each other and just text.
Yes.
Awesome.
We'll text as long as it's not sexting, because that'd be
there's no way
from
that
you to
and
sext
I
me.
are
Okay.
Sexting. I keep ignoring your advances.
Yes.
You need to stop.
My drummer text. Anyway, the Bob Marley movie.
I just saw a trailer for that on TV while we were sitting at the bar.
It was.
Yes, I went to a bar on the way here. Go ahead.
It was. What from the trailer? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's cool that it exists, although I couldn't really tell what was going on.
Right.
Hopefully it'll be historically accurate.
Well, that's some things I'm hearing already, but I think one thing that I did learn about was after watching the Grammys, which was just recently, the Grammys just, a few weeks ago, was talking about how the movie did include the family. So at least,
Well, his wife was in the band.
Right, and Ziggy was a part of the movie. They interviewed Ziggy, talked about obviously being part. Okay. So the family blessed the movie, and again, I'm sure it's going to be some people are going to probably watch it and they'll have the same reaction like the Queen movie. Bohemian Rhapsody was it exactly chronologically correct? No, but you know what? I think the important thing is those that don't know. I'd be surprised if you don't know who Bob Marley is, but it kind of gives enough people that. To learn, want to go seek out and learn more and dig into it, and Wikipedia, Google, and all those things. So, I think it's I think it's going to do pretty well.
Does it come out January 14th? No, February. It didn't come out on January 14th.
No, it's already out. It's already out. It came out on the 14th. It's already out. So we just haven't had a chance to go catch it yet. Actually, in the movie
so it's
theater,
already out.
Yeah, it's already out. So we haven't got. Maybe we'll go on a date together. There you go. Double date. We'll do a double date with our chicks.
I will bring my woman with me if we're hanging.
We'll go to the drive-in. How about we go to the drive-in? How about that?
No. Okay, not after that sentence.
You gonna sit in the back seat with me?
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, so let's ask our person on the couch there what they think about this upcoming movie. There, we've got back on the podcast Jake Walden.
Thanks for having me back, everybody.
Jake, that shirt, man, holy.
Yeah, I figured last time I had the dark, so I had to, brighten up a little bit. You can't just...
That looks good. You look good.
I know. You're very vibrant over there.
I know. Tommy Bahamas does not have shit on this. So I just want to put that out
That's
there.
like what Tommy Bahama does when he's been drinking too much.
Right.
It's Johnny Bahama.
Man. So, I think the new Bob Marley movie is actually going to be awesome. I love that. I love that they're going to do a movie on Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Heavyweights in the music. It changed the world of music altogether.
Yeah, I remember the first time I heard Rastaman chant. I was just like, that whole... if you want to talk about, riffs and rhythms, listen to Rastaman chant. That whole song is just going to school on that. Melody, the bass line, sick. Just the whole groove, that boom.
It has everything.
Just...
Yeah.
It has both.
Mm-hmm.
And to think, when you think back and you look at the history of Bob Marley, the first album he did was in the 60s, black and white pictures, the Beatles suits with the thin tie and the short hair. That was his first. And then what he became, the first time I saw a Bob Marley, the way I became aware of Bob Marley is on Night Flight. Remember that? Before I had a life, I'd sit home on Friday nights and watch Night Flight as a kid, and they had a Bob Marley concert. And the thing that I remember the most about that concert, being a 12-year-old kid, is that this dude had Cuban cigar size spleefs between every finger and was smoking them all at the same time, and then making a giant cloud around him, chiefing out, and then rubbing it all into his dreads live on stage. I'm like, wow. What the hell is that?
That's different, man. I mean, when we were in elementary school, I was in choir, and we did Three Little Birds, and that was not exactly the painting that we were painted as kids. And so you started to get a little older. You start to go down the path of Zionism. And then,
That's what this is about.
But it's crazy to think like how deeply religious those songs that with Bob Marley, those are religious songs from Bob's perspective.
I mean, even because I believe, and please, Lord, let me get this right. He actually died from melanoma.
Yeah, he did.
And I believe that they had the chance to amputate, and they could have saved him. And he said, "No, dude, my body's a temple. You're not touching my body."
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was melanoma in his toe.
That big
Yeah,
toe.
under his toe.
He
Yeah,
died of a
his toenail.
freckle.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
that's
Insane, man.
You don't. Yeah, melanoma is it's a serious thing here when you live in the South
Yeah.
and down here in the tropical area. But on your toe,
That's crazy. I know.
Yeah.
I've had it in my lung and on the side of my head, so I've had it internally and externally, and that stuff's no joke, man.
And
It's-
by the way, congratulations for surviving all of that.
Thank you.
Did better than Bob.
I did better than Bob.
That should be your
although-
next album, Better Than Bob.
Although I don't know if I'm happy that
Oh,
Bob
damn.
didn't rally on the toe amputation.
Kevin, I think
Um,
that's a little too soon.
Too
Was it
soon.
too soon? Oh,
Too
sorry.
soon.
I'm sorry. I'm completely tasteless and vulgar. I apologize.
Man, the Whalers are gonna come after us with a litigation like you've never seen.
You can't talk about. Yeah, that's right. Well, again, like you said, he's so revered. Again, you'd be surprised that people don't know his music. His music is global.
Everybody knows his music. They just may
Yeah.
not realize that it's Bob Marley. But
Right.
everybody's heard
Right.
a Bob
Yeah.
Marley song. You can't go through a restaurant without hearing Bob
I
Marley.
think everybody knows I shot the sheriff.
Oh
mean,
yeah,
everybody.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, they're covered by.
Eric Clapton.
Yeah, so very known by others, and
He even forced the reggae.
No woman, no cry.
that's right.
He
He
forced
forced
the
the reggae.
reggae.
That's
He
right.
forced the reggae.
That's right.
Yeah. No woman, no cry. I
yeah.
think that. I mean, if you've been to a Publix in your life, you've heard no woman,
Yeah,
no cry.
Redemption Song. It's
Oh,
the
yeah.
iconic, theme song of a generation.
Buffalo Soldier. I mean,
Buffalo
yeah, you can go on,
Soldier, yeah.
on and on and on about that, but I think it's I think again, if there's somewhat of it, if the family's involved, they're going to hopefully see that they are portraying their father. Ziggy's involved and the whole family. That they're going to portray that story because again, they were kids growing up at that time
Right.
period too. And especially, obviously, like the scene, where he gets, shot at in his house, and like I said, a lot of people may not know actually what the songs are about, but like, damn, this is a good song. I like the melodies and the riffs and the feel and the vibe and all these things. It's like, oh yeah, but they're singing about this oppression in Jamaica, So
Yeah.
it's like us
Yeah.
white people don't have a fucking clue what this is
It's a
connecting
little
to
out
the
of,
music.
it's a little. We definitely haven't lived that life. You
Yeah,
know what I
thank God.
mean?
Yeah.
Man, it's just it's almost it's so weird that out of some of the toughest times, you get some of the most beautiful music. Out of the worst heartache, the worst pain, the worst depression can come some of the most beautiful music and the most beautiful art. And I think Bob Marley's just the epitome of that.
Well said.
He is singing about. We talked about the last episode about sing like the blues,
Mm-hmm.
right?
He's
It's-
connecting with his audience by sharing a real life thing that he went through that affected him, and when we're on stage and bearing our souls, we're not the only person who's ever felt that way, and anyone who's felt that way, if you can emote properly, like, you will connect with them and start ringing on the same vibration.
Music's a universal language, right? I mean, I might not be able to speak Spanish or speak French or German, but I can sit down with somebody that's French or German or Spanish or African, and we can listen to a song we both love, and we're communicating and we're enjoying each other's company. And only music can do that. Only music can bring people together like that.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
question.
that's what it's all about with us, right? Is we can put all these things aside. We can hang out at the amphitheater up on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what your politics and religion and all that. We're enjoying a good beverage,
Sure.
listen to music, and we just enjoy the moment. That's what it's if we can get to more of those kinds of things and all the other bullshit.
Music is the best. It's the universal
It's
language.
brings
It's
people together.
It's the most
Yeah.
powerful teaching
Yeah.
tool, music. It's a unifying force in the world. It's just music is life.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better.
So it's something that kind of struck me too is recently is the Grammys was just recent, and there was a lot of remembrances of the past, people. And I know we talked last episode the passing of Toby Keith, but there was something that struck me about Tina Turner died last year, right? And they had the girl from American Idol, Fantasia. I didn't know she was still kind of involved with music or whatever. She came out and did Proud Mary and killed it, and was like, you talk about taking a risk with a song for
Yeah.
somebody who's, I'm not I'm hopefully I don't get too weird in what I'm going to say is, but for somebody who's that culture, African American, and an idol, a top of the hill kind of performer, and everyone looks at Tina Turner. An icon, and you're going to perform one of their songs to the Grammys and that audience, and then just again kill it. It had everybody on their feet. It's
Rolling on a river.
Tina Turner and the energy. And again, I also thought I forgot to, thinking about it was that was a cover song.
Yeah,
Of-
that's Creedence Clearwater Revival too.
Yeah. So again, it's like, but she made it so much better, right? We always talk about covers.
Yeah.
You got to
It's
make
Tina's song.
Yeah, it's Tina's song, right?
He definitely
yeah.
took it
yeah.
to the next level.
John Fogerty is okay. Hey, keep singing my song because I'm making checks.
And to hear the recording, and Tina Turner, the story between Ike and Tina Turner, and
Yeah.
she's up there shaking and going, "I like it rough." I'm like, oh,
I know. Well,
That's
if
a
you
big
ever seen
deal.
her in Mad Max and Thunderdome, for sure.
yeah.
Going old school way. But yeah, so it's great to see, Billy Joel performed at the Grammys too, and it's just kind of great to see music is still. You would say, oh, music is dead or music's changed, and we've done some reviews.
What kind of crazy, uninformed, ridiculous person would say that music
I
is
don't
dead?
think people that are actually plugged in because we've done some reviews of videos and songs, right? In the past episodes, Rolling Stones. Billy Joel's out with a new song. Billy Idol. We talked
Billy
a bit about.
Idol,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of again. Maybe these are artists.
Stones just put out a new song.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. I mean, I got destroyed in that. What made their song Riff? I had to submit to. Yeah, it's come on. It's Keith, right? So, but Charlie did kind of have a good. Charlie did kind of put it in.
Charlie's posthumous appearance.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, but yeah, music is alive. It's great. So
It's
Yeah,
more
people say that
accessible
the
than
air-
ever,
yeah.
man.
yeah.
No
It really
question.
is.
They say video is dead. No, there's great. We're seeing great videos every time.
It's almost with the age of technology and everything now, it's so accessible and people can grip it. And I mean, think about it, even to play guitar, man. I mean, if you go back maybe not 20 years ago, you go back 30, 40 years ago, how'd you have to learn to play guitar? You couldn't go on YouTube. Couldn't scrub.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, think about how many tools are at your disposal. I mean, 40 years ago, you probably couldn't get an interface for $200 and buy a Logic for $200 and at $400, add in another $100 for cables or whatever and a mic. You can record in your house.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That just wasn't available.
And you were talking a little bit about that before, right? It was before the show.
yeah,
It's about your struggle with wanting to be more of a studio guy, but you're like,
it's a struggle, man, because it's like, honestly, I do feel like I love playing live, but when I'm in the studio, I feel creative and I feel like creatively inspired and it feeds my soul. And so, in this new age now where everybody's got this home recording setup and I'm sort of like my purist guy with, I got the tube amp and the Les Paul or the Strat with my, I don't even want to run a pedal board. I'm like, no pedals, straight in. And at a certain point, you start to realize it's like, am I just like being a purist for the sake of being a purist? Like even Hendrix and all that kind of stuff. If he was still alive today, would Hendrix still be playing the old Marshall, or would he be playing the new stuff? And I don't know the answer to that. I know even like with Gilmour always was updating his stuff. I mean, in the 80s, he went to digital delay, digital everything, digital boards. They were always forward thinking. And I'm kind of at the point now where it's like, man, if I don't get with the times, I don't want to get left behind,
Yeah, right, yeah. And, that's a good point. I think you're right. I mean, I would have to agree that Jimi Hendrix, as innovative and all these things he would have been up on these things because it kept being innovative, right? So it's, like I said, the purists think back at a moment in time, like we said about this Bob Marley movie. It's a moment in time, and is it follow truly the guy, the storyline or chronological? No, but it's okay, because you're still getting to share the story that's somewhere in there, and so totally. But yeah, man.
So speaking of videos and technology and stuff,
that's right. We did talk about doing a review.
This is a historic moment, ladies and gentlemen, because in the past we have reviewed videos right here on the show, but tonight, for the first time ever, we're actually reviewing someone's video as they sit here. So there's an added level of gladiator going on in here.
I know. There's a little bit of tension, right?
Some tension, yes.
So I don't know. Is it tension for us? Is it tension for Jake? Is it on us or him that he's going to hear it firsthand in the room here, or that we're getting to tell him?
I am of the mind that I would not be willing to say anything about anybody unless I'm willing to say it to their face. So for me, it'll be all the same. I'm going to shred you just as hard as I shredded Keith and Billy. But I gave them good reviews, just so you know.
All right, I'm feeling confident.
You're in a safe space.
I'm my own worst critic, so I already rated myself a D-.
Oh, no way.
Okay.
All right. So we can't do. We can at least give him a D, and we'll be good.
There we go. Yeah, that's right. We just get a little bit. It feels make him. I will give you C-. To make you feel a little bit better about yourself.
All right, I'll take it.
All right, so this is the Jake Walden Band. Blues is back, and then we'll ask you a little bit more after, a little bit more about this song, and a little bit more details about it. And all right, so here we go. Here's the video, and then the song from Jake. What happened?
That's working good.
It was working.
Wow, the signal to noise ratio is the best I've ever heard.
It was working earlier, wasn't it?
Was that a dolphin?
It was working before. It's not working now. What happened?
All right, we'll get. Just give us.
Dino, we need your help.
What did we undo here?
You're a drum. You are such a drummer, man.
You
didn't even touch anything, and it's broken. How do you do that?
It was working a second ago.
Oh boy. Ugh. I like the dolphin. We can just end it there.
And the blues is back. I repeat, the blues is back.
Nice. Good sounding recording.
The blues is back. So they say.
The drummer's got a good haircut.
Show some love
I like this groove.
the old-fashioned way.
It's a good riff.
Is where you're at. The blues will love
So Jake, you don't play with a pick?
that's a matter of
No, man, it's finger picker.
Wow.
I don't love you.
All right, okay, yeah, I like that.
Yep, everybody's head is bopping. Now the cinematography, like this is a well done video. Whoever did this did a good
Beverly
job.
Boy Productions.
There we go. An excellent lip sync job, I must say.
Thank you.
If you weren't married, I would say for sure this. When you recorded this, you were definitely getting laid that night.
My wife was in the audience, so
So
it was a cop out.
If you can sing it too. I don't love you.
Is that the super fan?
There's always a super fan. That's my guitar player's wife, Ed.
she's
The blues is back. Spread
It's weird to see Jake with a little gray on his face. Like, he's the youngest one in the room.
I know.
What the hell? Even Jake Walden.
Anything
is
I
old.
feel about it.
No, remember you talked about last week was trying to get into these bars underage. Right?
Yeah, well, he's married now. That's where all the gray comes from.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, I like that one.
Here it comes.
Very bluesy now. Ed's hair is perfect.
He's crushing it.
Yeah.
The blues is back, so they say. Show some love the old-fashioned way. Where you're living is where you're at.
Oh, accidentally got some of the lights in there.
That's a matter of
By the way, the overall look, the video mastering is very good.
I don't love you.
Oh, I love the cut scenes there. Crazy.
Oh, we got the obligatory water on the drums hit.
Yep, you got to get it in there.
Sweet. All right, so I would have to say that song is definitely a riff-oriented song. It's the riff that makes that song good.
I don't disagree, Kevin. It was and again, this is where I think where I'm going to say is the guitar and the rhythm section come together to create the groove. You know what I mean? You know,
Absolutely.
I
I mean, great
it
groove.
was
A great
again, white
groove.
people bounce, right? Is that what they call it, right?
No, but I like in that song that the hardness of the swing kind of varied a little bit, and
Yeah.
it drove the song. It was good.
Yeah.
You know, we're doing as best we can, being a bunch of white guys. You know, I shouldn't say that because Ed is Puerto Rican. I got to give him his credit there. So he's got the Latin thing going on, but yeah, man, I kind of really just wanted to go straight ahead like blues rock on it, and it's got a little bit of a swing to it. I don't particularly think anything we do is like funky. Maybe it has like grooves, but I wouldn't ever consider anything we do funky because I think funk's its own genre. Like, I think of the Meters, or I think of like, I think of the Parliament Funkadelic when I think of funk. I don't think of blues or rock, but it's definitely got a little bit more of a swing to it. It's not just it's not just straight ahead, four on the
It's got
floor.
the stops and
Yeah.
the one-note bass solo in there. Which is
Yeah,
cool.
it's cool. It's not four on the floor.
It is, yeah. It's definitely a. That is, again, if I know Valentine's Day is past us here, so it's definitely a good grooving, yeah, it's definitely something you can get down related with.
Oh, sweet. I appreciate that. I don't know if I can listen to myself while I'm getting down, but
Well, hey,
somebody
hey,
else.
Hey, however you need to, whatever,
Yeah, for someone else, it would certainly be a good thing. Overall, I love the song, man.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking
Thank
about
you.
covering this song myself. This is a really good one.
Oh, wow. That's serious.
Kevin's starting the
Although-
Jake Walden cover band,
That's
tribute
serious, man.
No, well, there's a lot of details in there, and I'm really not a detail guy. I just like to bash away, so I may not be able to do it. But it's a great song. I would certainly play this myself.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So all right. So to answer the question there, yes, I do agree. It was the riff. It actually was on this song here. So
Yeah, the stops and the sliding hardness of the swing,
yeah.
and just all the elements were in there. It's
Yeah,
great.
the break. Yeah. So let's, Jake, talk a little bit about that song, right? How did this come about? How did you compose it? How did it all come together? Because again, I think it's not just a blast through. There's a lot of thought into that song, right?
Right. I mean, so a couple of different elements coming together there. Like, I think I wrote this song. I know I wrote this song sitting at home with an acoustic, believe it or not. And I kind of was messing around with my acoustic, and as I do, I would say I write 85% of my stuff on acoustic. And I came up with that little riff, and I kind of had, the little bam, 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 bum, bum, bam thing down. And, I was messing around with some lyrics and stuff, and I kept thinking, the blues is back. I was like, oh, it'd be it's like a declaration song. It's like the redemption song, not as obviously, deep as the redemption song by any means, but it's like a proclamation. So I came with the melody and playing like the blues is back, and then so I bring it into rehearsal. I get together with my guys, got Mark on bass, Ed on guitar, and Brian on drums. We all get together and we start, messing around with the riff. And I went home, wrote 2 real simple verses to it. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. It's just basically like a proclamation. It's like a feel good blues song. It's like the blues is back, so they say. Show some love the old fashioned way. Where you're living's where you're at. The blues will love you. It's a matter of fact. It's just that's what it is. It's like, here's the definition of what it means to play the blues. Here's the definition of what the blues is. It's emotion, it's love, it's anger, it's everything, and all those stops and that kind of stuff. I usually have ideas for stops, but I really got to give credit to my band because they really we start to get in the weeds on, it needs to be cuts. Here's the walk up. We're going to start from F sharp and go to here. And so, everything kind of took shape, and, we get into the studio and it adds that extra layer to it where you're starting to do like production, and it's like, oh, it'd be cool if we had like a little radio patch here. It sounded like a walkie-talkie or a megaphone. You start adding all those effects, and a little side note too for guitar players that'll obviously know by listening to it. Yeah, I played it on a Strat, but not in the music video because it didn't look. My Strat, was a beat up piece of junk versus my Gold Top looks cool. But I tracked that all on a Strat, as a lot of blues people would do. You go to the Strat; it's kind of a go-to. And yeah, man, we just sort of straight ahead went for it. Real simple song to write. Vocals came together easy. Had that chorus and the bridge, and it was the first song we've recorded of the new batch because Highway Song's still coming on our new album. That was the first song we recorded for our new album in terms of like we did a new set of recordings, went to the studio, getting ready to put together a second album.
So as the non-guitarist in the room here, so about the Strat versus what you recorded with was in the video, could a guitarist pick up on what they see versus what they hear?
No question.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just a single coil all day. I think a lot of it too, it sounds it's clear but it's fat, and a lot of that comes down to the rhythm section, how that gets mixed, and I some of that's doubled on my Strat, but man, that's just a straight ahead Strat tone right there, a little bit of Klon in there, and Diamond Offender, and just going for it.
Rock on.
So-
Yeah, it's a great guitar tone.
Is Ed so you guys co-leads or rhythm, or how's that
So
work?
it's kind of both. Like Ed, I would say 80 to 85% of the nights playing rhythm. He features on some stuff, but what's really fun about him and I is we get to do a lot of guitar harmony. So a lot of our original songs, like Highway Song or I'm Not Your Baby Anymore, you'll hear guitar harmony, and we do a lot of 2-part guitar harmony. Even live, we play stuff all the time that's 2-part guitar harmony. So we have an original song called Dust Bowl Blues, and the whole entire ending is like a rambling man, double guitar harmony. So that's really what we love to do. Like, I think 2-part guitar harmony, like the Dickie Dwayne thing, is like unrivaled.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
awesome.
So very, very cool. So congrats, Jake. Again, we're fans of this as well. And yeah, I love the song. Definitely love the groove there. And yeah, the blues is back.
The blues is back.
Yeah.
No question about it.
It's
So,
in. It's
that's
in.
right.
The blues is coming. It's coming back around now.
All right. So where can they folks hear this, download, buy, and all that other stuff?
Sure.
Yeah,
If you go on, we're on all streaming platforms. So Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music. If you type in the Jake Walden Band and or The Blues is Back, you'll find us there. If you go on our official YouTube channel, the Jake Walden Band Official, you can find it there. If you go to our Instagram, _Jake_Walden_Band, you can even find our little link tree there. We have a link tree in our Facebook as well. You can stream our new song, The Blues is Back, which is our most recently released single. And we got that new album coming out, Orbit, on the 23rd of February, so you can get that there too as soon as it releases.
cool. Where was this recorded at?
This was recorded at Raincat Recording
Okay,
Studios
yeah.
in Jensen Beach. Yeah, I think it's 1108 Northeast Industrial Boulevard to be exact. Could be wrong. A photographic memory. It's good at times.
Those guys are great at Rink.
No, yeah, Jeff and Brian are awesome, man. I've been working with them since we did our first album with them. We've done like all of our recordings with them, and they're doing my live album on 3.6 Iguanabananas. They're going to interface right in and mix and master for us afterwards too. So we'll get all analog, which I'm an analog nerd. Like when it comes to anything, even like with I've been getting into synths lately, like 70s and 80s, like the old Moogs and the old Korgs and the CS80 and that kind of stuff. So I'm just like again, I don't know if it's because I'm a purist or what, trying to get out of it. Like I've just always preferred analog over digital, or something about the feel, the response, and the warmth of it, you know?
Is that like, I guess, for you guys, people talk about tube amps and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, even tube amps now, a lot of them are circuit board versus like a hand wired bias point to point amp. But I mean, everything's great now. Technology's caught up so much. I mean, digital is so great. You can do everything you need to do now in a box this big and just take it to a gig and plug it straight into a PA if you really want to. Especially like in Nashville. If you go to Nashville, you rarely ever see amps when people are doing gigs there. They're just going into a Kemper, they're going into a Profiler, whatever it may be, and they're even recording, man. I mean, you get a little interface from Universal Audio now, and you know, you plug in and they got all these plugins. You don't even have to touch an amp. You just go straight into a DAW, a software, and you record, and you're done. It's just nuts what you can do now. I mean,
We truly live in the future.
we really do. We're living in the future. The Terminator was not too far off.
Yeah, we don't have flying cars, but we've got entire recording studios in a box the size of a shoebox.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Well, it's something I said today was make sure you're nice to their robots because
Yeah, you can't always backtalk your Siri because one day your Siri is gonna
they keep track of those things.
She'll remember.
Yeah,
Remember at 12:02 on
you
this
said-
date when you said, "Siri, I hate you."
Yeah.
I've been
You
holding
suck.
that in all these years, and now you shall die.
Shit, dude, Siri's gonna take me out with my own microwave. That's gonna be the last you'll hear of me.
Well, at least at least they gave the computers like nice voices. You know, it's not like we're going to get killed by
Well,
the Terminator who's got an Austrian accent.
Yeah.
well, it's of
That's
course,
true.
it's of course,
We'll be killed by a sweet voiced robot who sounds like a girl.
well, of typical guys, we're going to be sucked into those kinds of things. You know, it's flashy, pretty objects, and that's how it all happens. Right?
Yeah.
You have a nice sounding voice and sweet. It's like, oh, Siri. Like there was an episode of Big Bang Theory where Raj was falling in love with Siri. It's like I think when Siri first came out in that show, so he thought she was real.
Dude, man, you gotta be careful. It's like that movie. I think it was Ex Machina or something like that.
Oh, right,
where
yeah, you can
the
go.
guy gets honeypotted by the robot, and then
Yeah.
man, you gotta. I'll tell you what. Sometimes you watch those movies and you're like, I could totally see myself getting fooled by one of these robots. I mean,
It's coming.
it is probably coming sooner rather than later. I mean, there's much you could do to stop it. You know.
Well, it's like the self-driving Google cars. They don't tell you they're out there.
no,
Maybe we have self-driving
Until it
Google
hits-
women
until it
that
hits you.
haven't told us that they're out there,
I know.
and Google men.
That's right. So, we've got another part of our segment here is besides reviews, as we talk about crazy on the road, tales from the road stories. There, we're gonna put Jake on the hot seat here. He's got a story about again crazy stories from a gig, a show, a concert, something that's obviously music related. There. So, Jake, what is your tales from the road?
Okay, my tales from the road. This was and everybody involved shall go unnamed. But we had a gig. I had to be like 22 years old, and it was in Crescent City, Florida, in the middle of nowhere on this lake, like St. John's, basically. I mean, it was like middle of nowhere, and we drive 4 hours to get to this gig, and we set up. We get there super early. I mean, we had like 3 hours to set up. The load in, you like park in this RV parking lot basically, and you walk through this whole. You walk through this like whole bottleneck area where it goes into like a boardwalk, and then it turns into a restaurant. And it backs up to this lake, so you got to walk quite a bit. So we're just lugging all our gear, getting everything in, and we sound check whatever. And we're having nothing but PA issues. Like something was happening with either the console or whatever. We had a sound guy, and so he's trying to figure it out, get it going. And my amp's working. I'm doing fine. I'm not singing lead. I'm just playing guitar. So I mean, I'm playing in another band at the time, and I sit there, and the bar owner walks up like 13 minutes of showtime. Is like, hey, like, is everything okay? And so she could visually see that there are issues happening here, and so the first song is an instrumental. It gets to showtime. It's like 7 p.m. on the dot, 8 p.m. on the dot. Everybody's lined up, getting ready to watch us play. First note goes off for about a minute where everything's going good, and the whole entire PA just completely crashes. It goes into like reverberated feedback and just shuts down, like just blows up. And they're trying to get the PA working. And I don't know if the bar owner had seen enough or heard enough, but she walked over to me. I don't know why she thought I was the person to talk to. She said, hey, we've just decided that we're going to pay you guys, but we're just going to put the jukebox on. You can go home. And so I drove all this way, got all this gear there. The PA crashed and basically had a 4-hour drive back home to get home by 2 a.m. And I did not play but 5 notes maybe the whole night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about a letdown.
Oh, it was a letdown for sure.
Equipment failure.
Yeah.
So you got paid full?
We did get paid in full, which was a big plus. So, technically it's kind of a win, but you really want to play the show. It's what you're there to do. We were like hyped up. We did all this marketing and stuff. Everybody's hyped up. They're ready to see us. Like, oh, we've been hearing about this band. They do all these great songs. We want to see them. And then it's like, yeah, 5 notes in, feedback, crash, done. And they're like, yeah, just go home, losers. So it's like, damn. All right. Never got asked back after that. That was our last gig there.
Oh,
so,
oops.
That's your new song, 5 notes and done.
yeah, 5 notes. Yeah. It's not even a scale.
Wow.
I mean, you need at least
Yeah.
7.
Oh, that's
right?
the pentatonic song.
Yeah, it is. It's a,
5
it's
notes
the
and done.
blues, right?
Wow.
That's
that would have been horrible. I mean, that had to be the longest ride home from a gig ever.
Man, it was pretty bad. I mean, the worst part is, you're packing up and this PA just shits the bed, and then you gotta help pack up the PA, and you're just like packing this PA in shame as everybody watches you and listens to like Elvis in the jukebox. You're just like, what the fuck is going on?
so awkward.
Yeah, it was an interesting time. We've got quite a few of those.
Yeah, if there's a place that things are going to go bad, it's on the road, that's for sure.
Yeah, it never goes wrong when it's close to home. It's always, when you're far away. Man, I've had my share of issues.
That's crazy. So that's a tough to walk away from. And even though you did get paid, but still there's a little bit of pride aspect of, and you say reputation and and then to, like you said, people are standing there in the establishment watching you guys break your gear down after witnessing
the greatest just bed shit of all time. We had a gig once. It was a festival, and it got hyped up, and it was like all this buzz was around it. It was like an hour away. It was out west, and it just rained. And it was a dirt road to get into this festival, and so all these bands are pulling in from like Asheville with their vans and just getting stuck and shit. And we pulled in, and we're like the 5th band on the bill because all the other bands were like bluegrass bands, and we had a couple electric bands. And so we go up to play after the PA has gotten rained on for the past 2 hours. The rain stops, and the second we get 2 songs in, man, it just dumped. I mean, the PA shorted out. I mean, we got 30 minutes into our set. It's like slush. Everybody trying to get out. People were getting stuck. I was able to get my stuff out. But, I mean, rain's been the biggest culprit in South Florida. We did a gig once in Palm City. I was playing with Cassidy Daniels, and they had this big gig. They were doing this big, like, farm stand production, and we set up, and same thing, man. We got 3 songs in. And the heavens just opened up, and I remember just seeing people scrambling and running for cover, and it was raining so hard it was like a thatch roof, and we just left our equipment up there, and I looked, and there was just a pool of water in the open back cabinet of my amp. It's just.
Oh no!
And this drunk guy kept walking. The PA system again just gets shorted. I mean, done. And I've had 3 PA shortage issues I've been a part of, and at least probably more. And this drunk guy walked up to the sound guy, and he kept going, "Hey man, you got a schematic for that PA? I could take it to my shop and wire it." And the guy's like, "What the hell are you talking about? You think we're just gonna get this PA up and running in your shack with a freaking welding torch? Go home."
You never know.
You can't predict it.
He could have.
I mean, he might have, but I didn't have an amp at that point. I had what was a pond with electronics in it.
Oh. Yeah, you can't run them wet.
No, you can't. That's the one thing that never fails about music. You do need electrical equipment at some point.
Well, that's why the drums are the best instrument in the band, because you don't need all this bullshit.
I'm sensing some tension here from our host. It seems that they have a feud that's been ongoing here.
Yes, the feud. Well, it's the Riffs and Rhythms podcast, and the ongoing feud is that he is not on the bandwagon yet about how the riffs are better.
He's just jealous because, he wishes that when he hears the rhythm playing that he just has no rhythm.
Yeah, but you know what? In any other circles, when you hit things, people think there's something wrong with you.
Well, of course there's something
All
wrong
you
with
do
me.
is sit in the back of the stage and hit stuff, and people call that music.
If I had to stare at your ass all night,
you would be better
I
off,
would
I
be-
can tell you that.
It goes both ways, right? I mean, you need don't take that out of context. But
Too late.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can make an argument for, when you go to a gig, people dance because of the rhythm section.
Wait, what? Can you say that again?
People dance because of the rhythm section. People stay because of the words and the melody. So you want to get people up and moving. You play a good groove. You want to get them to stay. You sing a good song. And, I would say that in all honesty, I think the least important instrument in terms of music is probably guitar, which is pretty unpopular coming from a guitar player. But, I mean...
I totally disagree.
But I mean, it depends. I mean, at the same point, think about how many great singer-songwriters you need an acoustic and a voice.
Yeah.
I mean, Scrapper, Blackwell, when nobody knows when you're down and out. One of the greatest raw recordings of all time, just a man in an acoustic. I mean, Dylan, before he went electric, obviously. A lot of those old Dylan recordings, just him in an acoustic, are incredible.
Each type of instrument has its own special aspect of it. And the instruments where the vibration that creates the music is actually happening as a result of touching your body, like
Right.
The wind instruments, the stringed instruments on the outside of the piano. Those instruments, like they have the most visceral connection to your soul because you're actually touching them. You're creating the tone with your touch. Like the piano, you're just pressing a lever. The drums, you're hitting a thing. Marimbas, you're not actually physically touching the vibrational part that's making the, violin, you're touching. And in my opinion, those things, they have their own kind of vibe. The piano's a great instrument, the drums are a great instrument. But the vibe is different. Those are percussion instruments. I just feel as though when the vibration is happening and you're actually touching it, it has a different vibe than when you're actuating vibration through a device.
That's interesting. So would you say, not to get controversial, would you say that, when people sing using your voice as an instrument, because your voice is an instrument, would you say that's on that same plane?
A step above, actually, because the instrument, when the instrument is yourself, like you can't get any more personal than that.
Well, I think you talked about that in previous episodes, was the a cappella. As you said, there's no such thing as drumapella.
That's right.
But you were talking about what Fonda was, again, she talked about was the melody of the singer was above riffs and rhythms because, if you don't have a good singer, there's all those different combinations people talk about is,
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have a good drummer, maybe you got a good band, but not a bad, you know, it's, you know,
Man,
that kind of.
You know, I wish I was part of that conversation because I would have just said Miles Davis and John Coltrane. I said anybody can. I mean, I could sing. Granted, I'm a musician. I mean, I could sing almost everything off of Kind of Blue, Different Kind of Blue. Miles Davis, all blues. I mean, he was so melodic. So what? Such a melodic horn player. It's almost like he's singing with his instrument. Or even Coltrane, like my favorite things. Don't get me wrong, he rips it and takes it outside, or A Love Supreme, or any of that stuff. But back in the 50s, you know, in the 40s, you had a lot of jazz musicians, and you know, not. You know, you had your Ella Fitzgerald, your Billie Holiday, you had jazz singers, but you know, a lot of the times, you know, when jazz was popular, you had horn players playing melody, and so singers, people connect with lyrics, they connect with melody, and I think that melody can connect through a bunch of different mediums. You know, I think that, I mean, even in the realm of guitar, like I don't think anybody can play guitar melody like Jeff Beck can. Jeff Beck sings more than some singers do with his
no
instrument.
question about that.
So, you know, I mean, it really depends. It depends on what's for you. I mean, I know I can listen to a good score from Vangelis or from Hans Zimmer, and if there's melody to it, I can get lost in that. So I think the most important thing is melody. You know, melody is really what drives music, and how you make your melody, you can make it through different mediums, whether it's a guitar, piano. Just for me, it happens to be guitar is the thing I try to make my melody with. You know, that's my baby. That's what I'm comfortable with. It feels like an extension of me. And for other people, that can be their voice, or it can be a violin. And
So, and you know, a lot of people talk about the Beatles. Very simple band. Very simple all the way around, right? There's no shredders in that band, or there's no, it's just all the right parts and pieces came together to create melodies. Again,
melodies. Yeah.
how popular those songs that the Beatles have wrote, right?
Yeah, and I would even argue that George Harrison was a hell of a guitar player, hell of a slide player. And I mean, McCartney, I think, is a super underrated writer. I mean, some of his bass lines, I can't even think of a song right now off the top of my head. I mean, some of his bass lines, if you hear what he's doing, he's like playing the 5 over the 1. I mean, he's not even playing within the boxes of music, but everything he did just worked. It was almost like McCartney, when he would just come up with these ideas musically, he just was such an outside of the box thinker. I mean, I can't even hate on the Beatles, because I mean, you listen to a song like Day in the Life, and the production and the writing and the storytelling and the melody is just so amazing, and the harmonies are just amazing. And I mean, every Beatles album is like a different trip down a different area of those years of music. I mean, you listen to Magical Mystery Tour, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and the White Album, and you're gonna get 3 completely different bands.
Right.
It's as if
Right,
they are
yeah.
completely different bands.
You
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
I mean? I mean, they were just incredible. I mean, I can't think of any band that was so prolific, that was so versatile. I mean, they really were incredible. I mean, you think about when they came out, like the Ed Sullivan Show, when they came over to America and Wrigley Field, and people were passing out, but just they transcended music. They were really one of the first bands to transcend music.
Right. All the right things came about, and to go back to the blues, right? They were heavily, and it's always an interesting that how, you know, the U.S. and UK, the back and forth with influencing each other, right? Again, very heavily influenced from Elvis. That was one of their, you know, or, you know, that time of genre, that 50s and 40s and so forth, right? And they come in with that style to build upon, right? So it's yeah, you're right. It's I always love to talk about with people is the musical history, how today's musician, that a person may not realize that your favorite musician influences guy from 60 years ago. May not be direct, but you know, whether it's the drummer, you know, Neil Peart, and then, you know, again, as an example, I'm going to use drums. You know, Neil Peart to Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa to further back,
Tony Williams.
and it's like, you know, so they have no idea the lineage of that huge musical, but you know, things like that they're all built upon, and the influences of what they create. So that's an interesting part about, like you said, about the Beatles there, about how the melody, right? Because that was "Love Me Do." I mean, it's okay. It could be sappy songs, but
Yeah, Rubber Soul. Oh yeah.
it works, and people remember. And simple, keep it simple, right?
But those melodies were so well written. Like you can say "Love Me Do" and everyone can hear that song in their head. Love me do. Oh, I love you. Just great writing. Great writing.
Yeah. But you're right about George, right? I think most people don't. Those that know do recognize George was very underrated. It was one of those, especially with Ringo. Ringo gets the most shit in that band, right?
Yeah, easily.
And it's like, but it's like Van Halen. You've got, you need a super, the same thing. Michael Anthony gets shit on for playing bass, but it's like he played what he needed to play because he didn't need to overshadow Eddie.
And that's the funny thing about that too is, believe it or not, and I know we all hear different stuff, the person I hear most to get shit in Van Halen is David Lee Roth. I think he gets shit more than anybody in Van Halen.
Yeah, probably.
You think it's just because of his personality or his
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I kind of have I kind of like, I don't know, like tabloid culture. I got like really sucked into that whole like Hagar David Lee Roth feud. For, like I watched it, like I ate it like it was candy. But man, just it's kind of funny, like even hearing a lot of David Lee Roth's isolated vocals. It's just interesting. It's like it's one of those things where it's like it works in context of the band, but if he was a singer for anybody else, I don't think it would have worked. You know what I mean?
Right,
like
yeah.
they really, it's kind of like Ringo with the Beatles, like or Keith Moon with the Who. If you put Keith Moon in any other band, you're gonna be like, that drummer's fucking all over the place, man. But with the Who, him and Entwistle, it just worked.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like same thing with Ringo. It's like you put Ringo in any other band, it's like this dude's just like full on the floor. Well, I don't even know what he's doing right now, but him and McCartney together, it just worked.
That's
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
right? And we were talking way earlier, was before we started taping, was about just the jealousness of being in a band together is half of it. And again, if you can get past that and dig people and enjoy their involvement together, you can create some. Yeah, okay, McCartney and Lennon always had their things.
Sure.
But like you watch the Beatles documentary, yeah, they were always shitting on Ringo anyway, right?
Right.
But that's typical of drummers.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also too is it almost seemed like John and Paul were very equal. As much as John's attitude and his style was, Paul was always like it was almost like he never kind of over pushed Paul.
Right.
It's almost like he knew Paul was like,
Well, if you ask me, those two guys made a pact. Like anything they wrote, it was by Lennon and McCartney.
Yeah.
But those people who are well versed in the Beatles, you can tell what Paul wrote. You can tell what John wrote.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's any more successful songwriter than Paul McCartney.
oh, don't disagree.
I don't know of. I can't imagine a better songwriter than Paul McCartney.
I think it's like, in the terms of songwriters, man, I mean, they're all different genres. It's like Prine, Dylan, McCartney, like, even though they're all very different, I mean, just prolific. I mean, I
They're
heard
recognized
a thing.
heavyweights.
Oh,
of
dude, I
songwriting.
mean, I heard a thing the other day. I don't know how true it is. I heard that Paul got offered like something million to write "Live and Let Die" for Bond, and he wrote it in like a day, but waited 2 weeks on it, so it would make it seem like he worked hard. Like that's just how talented he was.
Wow.
Like I don't even know if that's true, but that's what I heard.
It's believable.
I would
Yeah.
believe that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there were so many bands. I mean, look at Floyd, dude. Like Roger Waters was actually pretty much like a creative genius with lyrics and ideas and stuff, and even like musically, like Gilmour was amazing with melody. His guitar was amazing. His vocals were amazing, and even Richard Wright, man. Richard Wright is like what George Martin was to the Beatles. Like no one talks about Rick Wright, but he was badass. And but even like the On the Run thing on Dark Side of the Moon, like David Gilmour did the original synth sequence for that. And Roger Waters just heard it and went, "Oh, that's good, but this would be better," and just off ear just did something, and then that was the part they used because he just heard it in his head. And so like it's interesting because even them, like apparently Waters and Gilmour just but they made a pact, and then working together, man, like Wish You Were Here, Dark Side of the Moon, Animals was more Waters and that kind of stuff. But I mean, some of that stuff they did was incredible. I mean, the Wall. I mean, think about how many great prolific albums they came out with in like between the 70s and the 80s,
Yeah.
like 70 to 80.
Well, those kinds of warlike writing relationships make a lot of sense to me because good music, good arrangement is all about tension and release.
Right.
And if you've got tension and release in the air when you're, at every stage and every way to every angle, there's tension and release between everybody. Some of the greatest things have come from that musically.
That is so true. Even in like in movies, lots of the best movies, the director, the actor, and the lead actor and the supporting actor all hate each other, didn't get along, didn't have a good working relationship. And that tension just adds to the characters. It adds to the mood of the film. It adds to everything. It makes it real. And that real, raw, genuine, tension is what makes the great art, Like the rumor even on, like, if you listen to Gilmour play on Animals, how angry his guitar playing is. And apparently the rumor is that, that's when Roger wanted creative control and Gilmour was pissed. So on Animals, he's just on Pigs. He's just going for it, And I believe that some of that's true, like a lot of that. But a lot of that is what added to the music.
No question.
interesting.
It's
Yeah.
that emotion. You can't fake true. And when you're feeling it for real, it can come through in the music.
Yeah, and they say some of the best art. They say most of the best art, it's there's frustration at some point with two people working together or people working together. If there's no frustration, you're not really trying to push through any boundaries. You're just sort of complacent. I mean, we disagree all the time as a band on writing stuff. I mean, it's kind of like every time you write a song, you really do compromise. Like,
All right. So if you and I are going to write a song together, we need to wait until we've pissed each other off really well.
yeah,
And then sit down and write a song.
sit down and write a song.
Yeah.
Or do an album.
Perhaps that's the secret.
That is the secret. Tension and release.
Rock on.
We'll throw you guys in a room with a couple of guitars and paintball guns and shoot
Yeah.
at each other.
You have to throw a camera in there too. I mean,
Oh,
you don't
yeah,
wanna miss-
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah,
Can't miss
for
that
sure.
footage.
So very, very cool. They're definitely great conversation about music, and I know, and obviously you very versed and knowledgeable about these different aspects of the different bands and musicians and songwriters, and and again, a lot of inspiration that you've taken to your own songwriting. Again, these are performers and artists 50 years, that
We're
are
still
still
talking about
influential.
them.
Yeah, still very influential. So definitely a big part of all that. So, so this has been a great episode, man.
Absolutely.
Definitely music talk here. You can't get anything more. Usually we sometimes say, wait a minute, when are we going to start talking about the riffs and rhythms? So definitely this episode, we definitely were hitting all the bases on the riffs and rhythms and music and reviewing the song there. The blues is back, man.
Yeah,
The
man.
blues is back.
Thanks for giving it an honest review, guys.
No question.
Yeah.
No question. So remind everybody where they can get a hold of your music and where they can see you perform.
Absolutely. If you want to see us perform, buy our merch, buy our music, you need to go to thejakewaldenband.com. If you want to stream our music, go to Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. We even have a Pandora channel. You type in The Jake Walden Band, imperative you get the in there, THE, and you will find us. We have Facebook, Instagram, website, official YouTube channel. We have link trees embedded in everything. So if you can type in The Jake Walden Band, you can find our stuff.
Excellent.
Awesome.
So we need to either update our Spotify playlist for reviews or
gotta-
start a new one.
Why start a new one? We'll put
Well, this is
Jake in the quality
Okay,
of
okay.
company of the Rolling Stones and Billy Idol, and who else have we done?
Wow.
Yeah, we've done
That's
quite a
where
few.
you deserve to be,
okay.
man.
All right. So
Why would we make Jake separate?
no?
What
Because
are you like racist against white guitar players?
yes, I am.
You're gonna put him in a
Mm-hmm.
separate group. Separate's not
Yes.
equal,
He can't be. He just gave Keith Richards props.
Okay, well then,
He cannot be.
Thank you for keeping score, Jake.
All right.
He did.
Yes.
I'm grasping at straws here to give him a hard
I
time.
gotta hold his feet to the fire.
The tension. So no, definitely too. So definitely check out all the Jake stuff there. Support again. This is what we're talking about: is support local musicians. He's a Florida musician. That's one of the things that we want to feature on this show here, reviewing original Florida music. Again, Jake is a Florida man like us, So check out his support. Get the cruise he's got coming up. He talked about also, which is sounds like a blast, right? I think
Can
it's like
people still get tickets to that cruise?
They're sold out. You can get on a waiting list in case somebody drops out.
how many people in your room, your cabin?
We had we had six beds all together that are all filled. We're fully booked out, so it's going to be a slamming cruise.
That was him politely saying, "No, guys, you can't come and crash my cabin."
No,
Well,
I
if
mean,
somebody wanted to
if
see
there was an
Jake
open
on a
cabin-
boat, this would be their chance.
Yeah,
That's
this
what
would be
I'm
a
asking.
chance to catch us at Magnum's or the Atrium on the Keeping the Blues Alive at Sea cruise. And they do this every year. We're very honored to be on it this year. We're in great company. And I'm just going to soak it all in and enjoy every moment of it.
You got to film those shows so you can share them with the world.
We're going to film them. I'm going to do a little boat blog, you know,
Oh, Jake's boat.
go
blog.
around with the camera. So
Hey, Jake, I know a videographer, so
okay.
I'll pass his contact information along. So
Okay.
Yeah,
I've never met him before, have I? No.
Should we give props to Dino?
You
that's
have
right.
to.
Yeah, Dino. Yes, Dino. Yes. So big. I want to give thanks there to Chris, and he is behind the camera here. He is. I don't know. We're gonna debrief after the show here and kind of see what his thoughts are. Does he want to stick around? To help us film the show? For future episodes. So we'll definitely talk about again. This is something that we know each other and said, hey.
Yeah, so this is the state of the entertainment industry. We had COVID that shut Hollywood down for years, and now we've got a strike, and this poor guy is buying clothes from Walmart and working with us now.
Right.
I know. He's been reduced.
But you know
to this.
But you know what though? He's also got the biggest set of balls. He's wearing a hat that says director. So he's letting
really
everybody
is.
know I'm fucking in charge.
I
You know
know.
that, right?
That's why the battery died on the machine in the middle of the show.
Shit, dude. We're sitting next to a real life Kubrick right now.
I know.
right,
Well,
yeah,
that's
I'm
why.
telling
That's
you.
why we've nicknamed him Dino Kubrick. Is this
Dino
going to be?
Kubrick.
So there you go, Jake. There's a concept for your next video there. A Stanley Kubrick version of your next music video.
I'm digging it already.
So
I
like
love it.
Apocalypse Now, the smoke and
Oh, yeah,
playing the
man.
guitar up on a big hill with your shirt off and
Yeah, with Mars in the background.
About it, man. I'll paint my face. You can call me Captain Willard. We'll get down on it.
Oh, there we go.
I love the smell of blues in the morning.
Blues and napalm. There's nothing like it.
That's right.
Blues and napalm.
Napalm to expose the blues.
Oh, all right. So you ready to wrap this, sir?
I suppose we should.
I should think so. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast here. Go ahead and make sure you rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else you can get a podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel there. A lot of great other episodes there. I think we're up in the 20s now in this our podcast.
Yeah, we've done a
episodes.
bunch.
Yeah,
It only
so-
seems like 37 though.
No, so we definitely appreciate everyone tuning in, checking out the episodes, leaving some comments, and we're having fun. You enjoy our silliness. Talk a little bit of music. That's what it's all about. Support and promote and so forth. So
Yeah, since you're wherever you are watching this, subscribe to us on this platform,
ding.
and click the bell. Come back and see us again. Let the new videos roll and comment. Let us know what you'd like to see. Let us know what we shouldn't have said.
That's a lot of laundry list.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot. It'll keep you busy forever trying to figure out what we shouldn't have done. And we're looking forward to seeing you more on this podcast right here, which is the Riffs and
Rhythms podcast there. So again,
you
I
are-
am Paul Robertson.
and
You
again, I am Kevin McLaughlin. Still Kevin McLaughlin.